So, like, being offended is technically like an emotional response. And the truth is that I don't get, like, easily offended. But,
Right.
like, I still have the cognitive ability to recognize when something is offensive. And that's the thing I don't get is, like, how some people, like, I get that you might not be offended, man, but, like, you understand that's pretty fucking offensive.
Welcome to the Smoke Up. My name is Malachi Juarez. This is a show where I sit and I hang out with a friend, I smoke with them, and tonight you're my friend, Ruben Uncut. Ruben
Hello.
Ryan is the host of a YouTube channel on and a comedian. Why don't you give yourself a quick introduction?
Yes. Hello. My name's Ruben. I am a improv comedian in my local community, and occasionally do stand up. But it's I'm a little too codependent. I need someone who's gonna be like Ruben. We gotta go do stand up, and then I'll go do it. But I do have a YouTube channel called Ruben Uncut, which actually started out as a podcast. I have a lot more episodes available on Spotify as well, and other podcast venues.
Yeah, I noticed it was labeled as a podcast on your YouTube channel, but it seems to just sort of nowadays follow the same structure as YouTube videos. So originally you didn't intend it to go that way. It was like all audio.
It was all audio. It was yeah, it was all audio. Some of my older episodes are very different. Even though technically speaking, the main thing that hasn't changed is that it's every episode is one of a couple different things, either me talking to someone I wanted to talk to, or me ranting about something that's on my mind, like politics or a movie or some type of philosophy of some kind.
Did you ever
Um,
mix improv bits into there?
oh yeah, I actually
Awesome.
when it was audio, I occasionally do little sketches or bits, but when it was audio, it was way easier because when it was audio, I could just do whatever I wanted without barely any preparation for any of the bits either, because I didn't need any props or anything. I just needed myself. But as I moved to video, it was like, oh shit.
Yeah. You can't really
I-
just make a voice sitting in a red T-shirt and someone believe that you're a character.
Yeah, no, you need extra stuff. Although I will say, if there's one thing I've learned from modern TikTok videos, is that people will accept the most bare bones representations of things.
Yeah,
We are
that's
willing
true.
to accept it for comedy now.
So I'm gonna try to do a little improv comedy tonight.
Sure.
I'm hoping that we vibe and that you catch the jokes as I'm making them.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a dry guy into some dry
All
humor,
right.
and
I'm pretty dry myself in terms of what I enjoy comedy wise. Although I will warn you that uh, I am on the autism spectrum, so there's a possibility something might go over my head.
well, I am also, as far as I know, I haven't gotten an official diagnosis, but my daughter is autistic, and she
Uh,
is much closer to the diagnosis than I am. Uh, it's a
yeah.
lot harder to do that when you're an adult and you just figure it out. I was
Yeah,
just
no,
like
it
the
was
weird kid in school, you know.
no exactly. I got I actually got officially tested only a couple years ago. Because well, there had just been a lot of events in my life, and also I spent a lot of time actually working in the disability community and with a lot of people who had autism, and it all pretty much convinced me. It's like I should go get checked out for this. And they came back and it was like, yeah, you're pretty autistic. Um, but I already made it to adulthood, so it's not as big of a
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, they're not really. They don't give you training wheels as an adult, like that's for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's more like, oh, thank God, that's what's been happening. I
yeah. Is
I can
that
relax now.
So do you find it easier or harder since then to connect with people on a comedy level?
I've never had a problem connecting with people on a comedy level, really. Well, that's not entirely fair. As a child, I did not understand practical jokes. Um, I mean, pranks, essentially. And so I could never get the balance right. I would either just do something that was not even noteworthy, or I would go way too far, and someone's feelings would be hurt, and it would be like, "Damn it, it was not the objective."
Right.
I couldn't get that. I couldn't figure out pranks as a kid.
Yeah. I think I understand them a lot more as an adult. Um, my daughter understands them, but she understands them in a way of like just tricking someone is enough. I don't know. Her stuff
Fair.
comes out mostly in like special interests. Like she's been very attached to this thing called a meow for the last 2 years. She's 5 years old, so it's been basically since she could show signs of autism. She's been obsessed with these meow things. And they're just little stuffed cats. It's like a it's
Adorable.
like a YouTuber sells little stuffed cats. She watches the YouTube videos. She has the cats, and
Nice.
it's yeah. Uh, Mine would probably be Star Wars, and when I was younger, it was Insane Clown Posse. I'm wearing one of my ICP shirts right now.
Hmm.
It's yeah yeah it's crop circles, and it says
Okay.
ICP. Yeah, I like
Gonna make-
the subtle stuff. So when I see your YouTube channel, well,
Mhm.
when I saw it, uh, it was like it was a while ago now at this point, probably like 11 months ago I followed it because
Wow. Okay.
I've been like really getting into small YouTube and sort of just following every small YouTube channel that gets suggested to me, as long as it seems like even tangentially like something I would watch a single video of. And so and since then I've been sort of parlaying the end of this podcast into knowing all those channels and just making it like an interview show. And
Awesome. Well, I'm flattered. I've I've secretly been waiting for another YouTuber to be like, "Let's do a thing."
yeah, yeah, and I've been excited reaching out to everybody and getting these responses because I mean, you might find it hard to believe, but most people don't like to respond to an email asking if you want to come onto a podcast where you smoke weed and talk about random things. Turns out a lot of people are off put by something like that. And I don't get many responses. So the people who do respond follow all the way through, and that's what I've liked about this so far. Um,
I I haven't. I have tried so many times to try and get like conservatives to come on my show, and they will not do it. I have asked a number of people at this point, and like one guy said he listened to a lot of my podcasts, and then he said he didn't care for the format, and I was like, well, I'm pretty flexible on the format. I always consider my show to be experimental. I could always change up the format if it would make you more comfortable. Like what? But he didn't get back to me on that one. Although he still tries to tag me in ridiculous conservative posts on Facebook.
yeah,
Uh,
I haven't had any luck hitting up a conservative either. There's this one podcast called the Conservative Juggalo Podcast, and I
oh
tried to
wow.
ask him to come on, and I think he probably just blocked me. I was a little bit more confrontational than I maybe should have been. Uh,
It happens. It's hard. It's something about text. Something about when you're writing something to somebody. It's very easy to be more confrontational than you should be.
yeah.
Um,
Like I
I
go
don't know
and
what
read
it
it
is.
back, and I'm like, am I yelling at this person? Was I yelling? I couldn't even
I
tell.
I had a conversation with a friend, actually someone who watches my show apparently. Um, I got into an argument with him. Have you seen the new Transformers cartoon, Transformers One?
I have not yet. I've seen the ads.
Um,
I know what you're
it's
talking
out.
about.
this is kind of a spoilery thing, but
That's fine.
we got in. He he made a post because the whole idea of the movie is that it's like a prequel of how Megatron and Optimus Prime go from being friends to enemies. And like he made a post saying that Megatron was right at the end of the film. And like I posted, I was like, what Megatron wanted was to publicly execute a guy without
Okay.
due process. Is and Optimus Prime just thought that was too far. I don't know. Like, there's not a strong political basis to be like, yeah, oh, Megatron should have just shot that guy dead in the street. It's like,
Right.
okay,
Like they put a lot of effort into making sure that children recognize that the bad guy was bad.
and like as we were having the conversation, I was like, man, I hope this isn't. I hope these comments aren't coming across as like a fight because I don't take this because this is not a serious issue.
Yeah, yeah,
Although he
yeah.
made one of his last comment to me that I didn't comment. He's like, Ruben, if in college, feel like back in college you would have agreed with me on this, and I'm just like, what did you think my politics were in college? I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, I'm a pretty. I mean, I'll be forward. I would classify myself as a democratic socialist, which I don't think is that crazy, to be honest. Uh,
I don't think so
and
either.
well, thank you.
But I'm a socialist, so maybe I'm
No,
not
that's
the
all
best
good.
person to ask that.
Well,
I think it's a very reasonable position, though.
yeah,
And
no,
we're gonna get deep into politics because you're the first political person I've been able to get on the show.
ah,
Everybody
nice.
else, they like to they react to movies and food
Mhm.
and stuff like that. They don't like to go into politics, but you do. You're bold about it. We're gonna
Yeah,
boldly go where every single left-leaning political talk show has gone in the last couple of weeks because it seems like
okay.
every time I find something, a show I watch does it the day after, and I have it scheduled for a
That
podcast the
happens
week
sometimes.
after. But I'm a bit of a political junkie, so I mean, if there's a chance of something political happening, I probably saw it. But back to autism.
Yeah, sure.
So the comedy thing,
Mhm.
did you find it like an outlet in order to connect with people then? If you've always found it easy to connect with people with comedy?
Well, I mean, I guess maybe I shouldn't say I've always found it easy to connect with people with comedy. Um, but I've been doing improv so long, it almost feels like that. I started doing improv comedy when I was 17. Um, and now I'm like late 30s. And and basically I think improv was the best thing that could have possibly happened to me as an undiagnosed autistic person.
Right.
I
Helps you
think that
mask.
well, I mean, maybe it helped me mask. I'm very like I'm very unclear on which a thing that a lot of people always tell me at some point in knowing me, at least people that I become close to. Like in college, one of my best friends in college, he always used to tell me that he was like, the thing that drew him to me is that I had no bullshit. He's like, everyone else has these defensive mechanisms and this bullshit, and you don't have that. And like, I now know that like I didn't have that because I didn't know how to have that.
Yeah,
I
you
was just
weren't
this
sure what he
poor
was
autistic
talking about
kid.
when he said that bullshit. You're like,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
this.
cool.
Yeah, it's just like I just like, oh, I must be a really genuine person. I mean, maybe I am a really genuine person. I like to think so, but yeah, no, I didn't have. There were a lot of emotional defense mechanisms I just didn't have because I just my autism had like put me in this place where I just didn't learn those things.
Right,
Um, and all, it's, so I'm just when it comes to being an honest person, I'm just kind of morally lucky.
right. Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
It just never
And,
occurred to me at some point to be like, I should start being full of shit on purpose or something.
oh, it makes me so deeply uncomfortable to like to variate from like the truth or like my exact feelings about something in the moment. Like it's physically painful to hold it in when there's like
Oh
a
yeah.
moment where I want to express myself. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and then
That's a big thing. I have that all the time. I have learned to like for a number of reasons. You like sometimes you gotta like you really got to do that thing where they're like you got to think you got what is it think is this necessary, is it kind, is it like those types of things
right,
before you say it, because sometimes it's hard, like sometimes you're just sitting there going, no, you guys mentioned you mentioned chocolate, so I have to tell you this thing that I know about chocolate. Okay, I'm gonna wait until you're done talking, but you mentioned it, so now I need to tell you that Hershey's was once sued for not having enough cocoa to be considered chocolate.
yeah, exactly. I totally
It's
get that.
uh
And so then how would you consider it separate from your comedy then? Does it not affect your comedy?
oh, I would definitely say that my autism probably affects my comedy. And I would say that my comedy affects my autism. Autism Comedy is the number one thing that has allowed me to connect with people. It has allowed me to better communicate with people. I to better understand people. Um, just generally like a lot of people that I did improv with over my life, I think of as like practically family. And yeah, it I think that improv is useful to anyone who is on the autism spectrum. I would recommend anyone if you have kids on the autism spectrum, I would definitely say try to learn about improv. Try and see if it would be something you could get them into. And also like honestly, theater. Theater has so much value to helping autistic children to socialize.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I would
And
100% recommend that. If you're a parent with an autistic child, I would say theater, improv, and if you can find now you got to shop around, but if you can find a good martial arts dojo, that's pretty cool too.
right. The funny part is that that's the one thing that there is plenty of in my town is martial arts dojos for kids. It's a very
You got to
conservative
shop
small
around
town, so
though.
I think that's all they care about putting their kids in. So there's no like young sports teams. There are fighting dojos.
Martial arts was the only sport I ever got into. Not a
I don't.
sports person.
Yeah, I'm not a sports person either, and I can't do touching. So I think the only sport I'm comfortable with is is something with a stick or racket, you know, like racquetball. Maybe I'll play
Yes.
lacrosse.
Okay.
Uh, but that's about as far as I would go.
I think
I
people
don't.
still get tackled in lacrosse. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would
Or
be out.
checked maybe.
If they start tackling me, I'd be like, ah, I don't like that.
Maybe not tackling, but like it does look like it can get pretty rowdy in the lacrosse. But I've never actually watched it. Although it is an interesting sport that we stole from Native Americans.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
They should have got paid for that. The colleges
yeah.
that do it.
Mhm.
Um. So
Oh, but
what?
one other thing, just when I say shop around, you got to shop around for those dojos though, because you got to make sure that it's like some martial arts people are crazy.
Yeah.
Like I never met a normal Taekwondo person.
Okay, I gotta switch out my headphones really fast. That's why I had two
Okay.
headphone pairs at once on just a moment ago.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think I got it, and it's still recording. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, looking out for a good dojo. I mean, ultimately, the problem is I can't afford any of that, but
That's fair.
it's
That's fair.
definitely something I would consider doing if I did have the funds. Um,
Mhm.
so your podcast, it
Yeah.
it sounds like a meal.
A meal.
Ruben
Ruben
Uncut.
Uncut.
And I kept thinking that. I kept just imagining a
Oh,
sandwich.
because of the
Yeah, it sounds like
sandwich.
a sandwich.
Sandwich.
And
I can't tell you how much that hurts me inside. I I would never intentionally reference that sandwich.
right.
I
What's
would
that,
never
roast
do that.
beef and mustard on rye?
I it's roast beef, a Thousand Island dressing, Swiss cheese, and sauerkraut on rye.
Oh, yeah, no, that's really yeah, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that either. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then I saw that it was
I did.
spelled differently, and I was like, well, that's probably just his name. And then I saw that you have a backwards name, like your names are backwards. Like your name is Ruben Ryan.
Yes, my family name is Ryan.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes that happens. Do you like that?
Which part? The
Well, I know you don't like the sandwich thing.
no. It's just, like it's like when your name is the name of a song. That means you're doomed to spend your whole life people singing that song at you.
Right.
Um, like my thing is that I walk through the world of comedy and I have to interact with comedians. And like they all think that everyone acts like that. It's impossible that I haven't already heard these jokes.
Yeah.
But I have already heard these jokes.
I know. I
Every
totally
single one of
know.
them. So it's very, very like, yeah, no, fuck that sandwich.
Right.
I should have asked. Can we swear here? I assumed because we were smoking
Oh
weed that
yeah.
we could swear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the channel gets suggested to people ever because I think it decided that it's a show where I smoke weed on it, and I don't like it's just real weird. I've had it for a year now and no
I don't know.
traction. I think I'm gonna I am gonna relaunch a new show where it's just interviews, and I still smoke weed, but I don't talk about it like Joe
I
Rogan
will
did.
say, I will say, I do a few episodes where I'm smoking weed, and I don't normally talk about it. Although I did put in the title of my RFK video that I was a little stoned. And I do also have a video called "I Went to See Megalopolis Tripping Balls."
I saw that. I saw that title. I didn't watch the video.
I can't lie, I enjoyed Megalopolis.
I think I will. I didn't expect to enjoy the Joker, but I want to end the show on that. So,
Okay, sure.
okay, so I think I got the first part of the interview done. Here I am producing on the fly. Uh, so do you think it's necessary to be like offensive in comedy?
No, it's not necessary. I mean, it's definitely not necessary to be offensive in comedy because, like, Mitch Hedberg is not offensive. I mean, sure, he says the F bomb a few times. Actually, that's actually the difference between Mitch Hedberg on television and Mitch Hedberg on his albums was just on the albums he would say fuck sometimes. But like generally speaking, like Mitch Hedberg he never did a joke that I would classify as like truly offensive. Um and like Jim Gaffigan's not offensive. He's an incredibly talented comedian. So I don't think it's ever necessary to be offensive. Um, I would say so. Like I have a naturally like semi edgy sense of humor. I'm very sardonic. Um, I tend to make. I always make. In my mind, I'm always making fun of anything that I think should be criticized. Um, so part of why I enjoy satire, I guess. But it's a problem smoking weed. Every once in a
Right.
while your brain goes blip.
Yeah.
But the what was I talking about?
Um.
Oh, necessary being offensive in comedy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have my notes right here, and I'm looking the wrong direction.
It's all good. But like, and also like, so I can be pretty offensive sometimes, and I have one listener of my podcast who's been listening to me like from the beginning, who's always getting on me about swearing all the time. They're always very upset with me for swearing. And I think that they're adorable, and I appreciate them paying attention to my podcast. But like, I just, I don't know. There's a part of me that doesn't. On my own podcast, it's called Uncut. I don't feel like stopping myself from saying swear words, and I don't even like swear too excessively unless I'm getting like worked up about something. Um, but like the thing is, like you can never be confident. It's almost impossible to not offend someone. Like
Yeah.
all you can ever do is really just sort of minimize the number of people that you're offending.
Yeah. It's more
Um,
like a byproduct than the actual like target,
yeah,
right?
I mean, kind of. So like the thing is that like there are definitely people who like go out of their way to be offensive.
Yeah.
Like that is a thing. And like we're living in a weird time right now where like I feel like comedians have become kind of like overly entitled. Like whenever I hear comedians doing stuff like, "Oh, you can't say anything anymore." It's kind of like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah. Honestly,
Like,
that does get on my nerves, but the modern thing that comedians do that really gets on my nerves is um the people who here now I'm having my moment. Um
I understand.
the people who are very very self-important about it, and they think that
Oh yeah.
comedians are the bringers of like truth and modern philosophy to the masses, you know. That
Mhm.
like I don't think it's as harmful as the people who are always complaining about everything, like everybody being offensive, but I think it's so much more annoying to have somebody whose job is to like talk to drunk people is like thinks that they're like the like next coming of the messiah, like in like a very like they think that they're the wall holding back. And I'm pretty sure Jerry Seinfeld actually uses this expression, is that they're like the wall holding back all of like the um the uh over like criticism of people's language, you know, like they're like the people who are preventing that over policing from happening by being offensive. I don't know. That was just a little bit of a off
Yeah.
the beaten path, but
No, no, like I dig it. Like, and also I am always I think Jerry Seinfeld is ridiculous. I think that he is an out of touch billionaire is the problem with Jerry Seinfeld. And also he is like a billionaire. He is
yeah,
crazy rich. And which is also crazy because in my honest opinion, he's kind of just a guy who was lucky enough to be friends with Larry David. And that's how he got to be where he is.
yeah.
I'm 100% I'm 100% team Bobcat Goldthwait.
I think Bobcat's funny. I
I
do
love his
have to give
movies.
this to Jerry though, is that he is a very um he's a
I mean, he's
very
talented. I'm not saying he's
yeah.
not
Well,
talented.
he's good at doing clean comedy
He's
stuff that they were
extra
able to
ironic situation.
replay for like 40 years on television. Like that's like you could have his jokes on TV without ever having to take them off because they were too racist or bleep
Hmm.
words or anything like that or cut in between them. It's just like but now it doesn't really matter because like a lot of comedy specials they can be aired at like 10 o'clock and they contain all the cussing on Comedy Central, so it's not
Hmm.
really that big of a deal to be like a clean comedian anymore, you know. He's
10
definitely past
o'clock
his
is
prime.
10 o'clock is the magic number. That's when things are considered past prime time. After it goes after 10 o'clock, you're allowed to do more things on television, which is the
Yeah,
thing we don't really talk about
advertisers don't get mad anymore.
because the
But
children are supposed to be asleep by then.
yeah, yeah,
I uh I actually have I sort of kind of have a Jerry Seinfeld story. I was doing a comedy show. I was part of I was in a comedy festival they used to have up in Cleveland. Um, I did not meet Jerry Seinfeld. That is not where the story is going. Just to be clear. But I was doing a comedy festival up in Cleveland one time called it was called Big Little Comedy. They did it in Cleveland for like 2 or 3 years, and then they moved it to Texas for some reason. Um, but it was stand up and improv, and I think sketch all down stairs in like the playhouse. I think it's called the Kennedy Black Box in the I think it's Playhouse Square. And we were doing that, and while we were doing that comedy festival, Jerry Seinfeld was up on the main stage of that theater, and and so like both shows actually end at the same time, and so like as we're coming out, it's just a sea of middle-aged white people, just like this ocean of middle-aged older white people, like people in their 50s and stuff. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. This is
yeah,
Jerry Seinfeld's audience for sure.
yeah. He never managed to ever replenish the ranks. They're all the same age, the same group of people that were his fans when he was famous. But
Yeah, no.
yeah,
The
I
kids
just
only know him for a B movie.
yeah. Oh, and I think that's even like generous. I mean, they're like
That movie is insane.
I haven't seen it
You ever
since I
seen
was a
it?
kid, but I don't know if any kids
There's an
know what that
implied
is.
romantic relationship between a bee and a human woman. It's like, what? What is happening? Why are they
Yeah,
flirting?
yeah,
This
that's
is
insane.
insane.
Yeah,
Doesn't
uh,
she have a human husband? What's going on? I actually don't remember what Patrick Warburton's character's relationship was to her, but I thought they were married. I could be wrong. It's been a long time.
yeah. I don't remember any of it, but I'm sure there's a good video essay about it.
Oh no, definitely. Apparently it's one of those. It's gained some type of cult status for how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, I bet. Sort of like
I guess
like
which kind of lines up with its name being a B movie in multiple levels.
yeah, that honestly should have been something that they caught when they were producing it. But I feel like I was trying to think of a thing that got ironically popular past its prime, and I just couldn't. Um, so not all jokes have to be offensive,
No, no, definitely not.
but do you? Okay, but do you find yourself being offended often as a progressive comedian in a space where a lot of people are just out there trying to offend people? Especially because you hear
Um,
like some crazy shit, I'm sure, like in like a certain comedy clubs, I'm sure people like don't hold back, right?
I mean, yeah, no, I went through a little period of time where I was actually got to do some comedy on the road, which was nice. I got to go to Chicago and perform there. I did 5 minutes on the Laugh Factory stage, which is the furthest I've ever gotten in doing stand up, which was kind of cool. But then I've also done New York. Did a few small stages in New York. Um, but what is it? Something Apple? I forget. But or Pear. Anyways, it the thing I noticed is that New York is a lot less PC than Chicago. Is a thing that I'll say that I noticed from that. Um, I will also say that so a thing that I don't understand is that so like being offended is technically like an emotional response. And the truth is that I don't get like easily offended. But
Right.
like I still have the cognitive ability to recognize when something is offensive. And that's the thing I don't get is like how some people like I get that you might not be offended, man, but like you understand that's pretty fucking offensive. Like I don't understand how people don't get that sometimes. It's like I feel like you should at least you may not have the like empathetic response, but you should be able to have the sympathetic response on some level.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I almost feel like they're looking out for that. You know, they're trying to get that. Like, uh,
oh yeah, some people are definitely intentionally offensive. But like at the same time, like honestly, Anthony Jeselnik has like has said some of the smartest things about this specific topic.
yeah. There's a very good
And
quote that floats around Twitter where he says
art is
that
getting away with it.
yeah, it's about getting away with it. Yeah.
If you don't get away with it, then you did it wrong. Essentially, is one of
Hmm.
the is sort of one of the points he's making, and like that's kind of true. Like the reality is that if you say something like wild and out of pocket and everybody laughs, then you win. You got away with it. Everyone was like, okay, you said it, but we laughed, so it's okay. We're going to let it go because we all laughed. But if they don't laugh, then it's like, well, you were playing with fire and you kind of got burnt. Because
Yeah.
that's kind of what it is. Like, edgy comedians kind of have to be okay with the fact that some people are not going to be cool. Not going to be cool about it.
Right. Yeah. I feel like there's probably varying ranges of people who like. There are people who specifically um like mold their comedy to where it ages well, to where they're doing offensive stuff, but they're like punching down, or like some of Dave Chappelle's older comedy, he's like the underdog in the jokes. He's like punching at himself in a lot of it, or like Daniel Tosh, he'll try to offend like anti-abortion crowds. He doesn't respect those people anyway, so he's fine if they're offended, like stuff like that. Um,
So
but then there are oh,
Daniel
go
Tosh
ahead.
is an interesting Daniel Tosh is an interesting comedian because like both him and Anthony Jeselnik are of a similar type in that they are comedians who are they're playing a game called Say the Most Horrible Thing. And like that's the whole idea. To be truly in on the joke that they're making, you have to also believe that what they're saying is horrible. And now the reality is that there are going to be people out there who hear it and go and like whatever racist joke Daniel Tosh just made, they don't hear it as that. They hear it as the actual racist sentiment. But
Right.
like if you're smart about it, you'll understand what they're doing because they're very ironic comedians.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Anthony Jeselnik has openly said that like none of his jokes are true. All of his jokes are made up. He doesn't tell true jokes, and like part of that is because like the types of jokes he tells.
Right. Okay. So there are those kinds of comedians. And then I feel like there are the comedians who are like they're just trying to find the audience of people who are just trying to piss people off. And so if they
Mhm.
piss people off, then those people are happy. They laugh at the jokes that are meant to attack other members in the audience. And
Mhm.
so there are ones like there are like people who go after like hecklers and do like really offensive stage work with people, and then there are people
Okay,
who just do outright
like,
racist jokes, right?
like insult comedians and stuff.
Um, like insult comedians. Yeah, that's exactly. And then like I feel like next to insult comedians, there are the people who just do like outright racist comedy, or like try to like play the
Like
game of
like
I'm gonna say
Steven
the
Crowder.
worst thing possible. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say the worst thing possible, and then all the shitty people are gonna laugh at you for like reacting to it. You know. Um, whether or not we mean it, some of us mean it, some of us don't. It doesn't matter to us. We're just trying to like ruin your day, basically. How
Yeah.
do you
Now,
feel about those kinds?
Steven Crowder's a good example of a comedian who doesn't know how to be funny without being racist.
We're about to get a great example here in a moment.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
What do you got?
So, you're plugged in. Have you heard about this Tony guy's set at the Madison Square Garden rally the other day, the Trump rally?
Funny guy?
Yeah, he's the host of the Kill Tony podcast. He's a comedian.
Okay. Okay, I have seen clips of the Kill Tony podcast, so I am vaguely aware of it. Just weird kind of podcast. I've seen some of it. So I'm vaguely aware of him. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. But I do know who he is and sort of the group of people he associates with.
Yeah, I knew about this guy from there was a stand-up set that Violent J did on the Kill Tony podcast. Basically, it's stand-up sets by amateurs or non-comedians.
Yeah.
And a bunch of comedians roast their set.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Tony guy is one of he's the guy who's the podcast is named after. And he is like, I guess he's a pro-Trump conservative. And he opened up for Trump at this Madison Square Garden rally the other day. And I wanted to share a little bit of his set with you.
Sure. I'd love to react to that.
Okay.
I had just recently heard about Jim Brewer just apparently went full racist in a stand-up comedy set.
Yeah, he decided to do the ingenious idea of mixing his loud noise comedy with racial stereotypes, and he somehow perfected his art in that moment.
Rob Schneider actually got kicked out of a Republican convention, not convention, but meeting or fundraiser thing for doing a stand-up set that was too sexual and racist. They did apparently they were uncomfortable with his Asian impersonations too.
Oh, great. Yeah. These guys are also they're in the Stephen Crowder category to me.
White conservative comedians really want to bring back being racist to Asians. They really want to bring it back. It's very weird.
You're you're predicting bits of this episode before they happen now.
What? Oh boy, let's see it.
Kill Tony podcast. Tony Hinchcliffe.
On fucking C-SPAN. He had to do his stand-up on C-SPAN.
See y'all from Texas, where we sit riding swangers and put diamonds in our niggas. Pour drink inside my lemonade till it look like a Pepsi. See I come from the D where we got checks and we be flexing.
Okay, yeah, he looks like he's gonna be the most annoying guy at the open mic.
How we feeling, huh? Wow, isn't this special? 17 years ago, I was sleeping in my car behind the Comedy Store.
He sounds like Duncan Trussell's evil twin.
Square Garden, the most famous arena in the damn world. The
It's
American
so fucking
dream,
funny.
alive and well, right here. This is very different than where I'm used to performing, though. I'm used to nighttime with people drinking, not so many babies in the crowd, and people that are obviously only here for Lee Greenwood tonight. Normally, I don't make my political beliefs a known thing. It's divisive for a comedian to do that, but just know I sleep well at night knowing who I'm voting for. Yeah. When I lay down and my head hits my pillow, it is a fantastic pillow, by the way.
It's not.
At the Four Seasons.
Oh, that's not even a real joke.
And I laid my head down.
It was great.
So good, and I thought to myself, what an amazing pillow.
The joke is, I own a product that this movement sells.
And there it was.
And it's
But-
fine. It's actually good.
And damn it, I bought 4 of them. And if you use the promo code,
It sounds more like a commercial than a joke.
4 My Pillows. There's serious stuff happening, people. I live in the great state of Texas now.
It's just a My Pillow
18
commercial.
years in Ohio, 20 years in California, and I got to see California turn to absolute horrendous thing. And traveling the world, I got to see San Francisco turn into one of the most demented cities, one of the greatest downfalls I've ever seen. And that is where the other candidate worked for 2 decades. And it's absolutely wild to see. And in Texas, stuff is really, really crazy. We're right there by a wide open border. Where are my proud Latinos at tonight?
That's a weird segue.
See what I mean? It's wide
That's a
open.
really
There's
weird
so many
segue.
of them.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, okay, we're
absolutely
setting up that
incredible.
racist joke. Okay.
Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. Republicans are the party with a good sense of humor. Free speech is under
You're not
attack,
backing
people.
that up
I
right
host
now,
a
sir.
show, and each week I get updates.
Yeah, it's
what
rough
words
even
we're
for
allowed
the
to
audience.
Not use anymore.
Like,
It's happening right now. The past
Like
few
his
years.
his
It's
joke
real.
structure is actually
And,
shitty.
You know, used to be able to tell people to Google stuff. My mom's a boomer in the state of Ohio, and there's no convincing her of anything. She's eating the cats. She's eating the dogs. They're eating the pets up there. It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a
very few
floating
comedy
island of
sets have
garbage
ever made
in the
my
middle of the
heart
ocean
sink
right
while
now.
I'm watching
Yeah.
them.
I think it's called Puerto
I'm like
Rico.
in anticipation of the next show.
Okay, all right.
I ruined
Yeah.
that one though.
We're getting there. This, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right. Okay. We're getting there. Now, again, normally I
Sir,
don't follow the
Puerto Rico is
national
technically
anthem,
part of
everybody.
America.
This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup. There's some people here. All right, very good. I like it. I have other policies that I think it should be implemented as well. Like me personally, I think football should be all year round. Yeah. So many great athletes.
There's just a guy clapping in the audience. Yeah, football year round.
Jay Simpson.
Oh, we just missed an O.J. Simpson joke.
Oh, I gotta hear that.
Feels good in here. I like it. I have other policies that I think should be implemented as well. Like me personally, I think football should be all year round.
Okay.
Yeah. So many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson.
Oh, like he's gonna kill Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Wow.
Feels good in
That's
here. The other
weird.
side's got a lot of crazy
That's a
endorsements.
weird joke.
Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want.
They're literally frothing at the
Alright.
mouth.
I know.
Cool black guy with
Democrats
a head. What
to
the hell
be
is that, a lampshade?
pedophiles.
Look at this guy.
They want it. They
Oh
want
my
that to be
goodness.
true.
Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys are... This is a groany little morning crowd, huh? It's tough to follow this
Is his
audition for
friend
the next
black?
Commissioner
Is that what
Gordon.
Yeah,
just
that was the
happened?
black guy. You said that to a black guy.
It is, though. It's crazy time.
Wow, and even the Republicans
all these
groaned at
pointless wars.
even the Republican audience groaned at that.
Unbelievable what's
We've,
happening right
we've come
Oh,
a long way.
He's doing the Middle East now.
Ukraine versus Russia.
Oh, yeah?
Israel. It's like bad soccer games. Who even cares? What are we doing? Why is our money involved in these wars? When it comes to Israel and Palestine, we're all thinking the same thing. Settle your stuff already. Best out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. You know the Palestinians are going to throw rock every time. But you also know the Jews have a hard time throwing that paper. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're having fun.
What's funny is in my head, I predicted that joke, and I
Hillary Clinton
didn't
said
think
that
he
this
would
is a
actually do it.
Nazi rally here today.
And then he's just like, they think this is a Nazi rally.
Can you believe
Like, dude, you just told an anti-Semitic joke.
anti-war
You-
president of
You're
my
like
entire
working
life?
overtime to make this look like a
And
Nazi
she
rally.
calls him Hitler. Let me remind you, Hillary, it was your husband who shot innocent people, or as he called them, interns. Yeah, Hillary.
Yeah, I don't think
bet
that
you
joke
did
works
not
because he's
see that
comparing
one
getting
coming.
shot with semen to getting shot
Yeah.
with a gun. Those
Yeah,
are
I
very
got lost
different.
there. Especially because I was like, I don't know, I was thinking like actual crimes, and then he's like, oh, okay, the affair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just obvious to me who the right candidate.
Which is a very old joke at this
Guy
point.
out
That's
here
like a
dodging
30-year-old
bullets.
Yeah.
joke.
It is unbelievable, right?
He sounds like evil Duncan Trussell, and he
He
looks
took it right in the
like
ear.
evil Daniel Tosh.
Unbelievable. I thought about this. I don't know if you have. Coolest place to get shot. Like if you're gonna get shot anywhere on your body, that's where you want it. Right there. Technically, he got shot in the head, depending on if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Right? If you're a Democrat, his ear was grazed. If you're a Republican, he survived a headshot. It is. It's the best place to get shot. It's the only part of the human body will drive a piercing through like a little girl's ear for no reason. Right? There's just it heals fast. Nobody cares. It's the best place to get shot. He went down, saw blood on his hands. I'd imagine he thought right then, I think I just won this shit. Stands up and says the most American words I've ever heard in my life. No. Before that, there was one more. Let me get my shoes. Fearless. Perhaps still with an active shooter. He's talking like a guy that just had the best one-night stand of his life. Right? Like, where's my shoes at? I gotta get the hell out of here. Let me get my shoes. And then the fight. What he did was so cool that Biden got COVID. Oh yeah. Go back, look at the timeline of everything again. 3 days after that. That means that Biden, he didn't get that from hanging out with sick people. He was in a sterile room in the White House, watching blood running down Trump's face as he pumps his fist. Biden's like, oh, fuck. Oh, God, no. It's true. Trump survived an assassination attempt, and Biden got COVID. We vote next week. God voted 3 months ago.
Oh, that's a funny joke.
So, like, I think it's incredibly fucked up. Like, that implies that God
Another
also
great
wanted that
Austin,
fireman
Texas
to die.
resident Elon Musk will be speaking here later today.
No arguing against that.
Like, so let's maybe not bring God into that. Maybe God didn't want
Unbelievable.
Donald Trump to
Genius.
be a martyr.
You guys saw him shoot that rocket into outer space, the largest aircraft ever.
Oh, God, is he
Fires it
sucking off
into
Elon
space,
Musk now?
And then parallel parks it
That's what it sounds like.
to planet Earth. Meanwhile, Kamala supporters can't parallel park their Toyota Priuses properly. Sorry, I listen to Elon Musk. I follow his lead. The world's smartest, richest man has my attention.
Elon Musk.
Except for when it comes to
an
stock trading.
idiot.
Then I listen to Nancy.
I love that he called him the smartest man.
Yeah. No, having seen the Don Lemon interview,
amongst us people,
I now know that Elon Musk has no credibility.
And,
Yeah, no,
I'm
he's
just here to say that you guys are for the right candidate. Tell your friends.
He's
Let's
basically
close it out.
politically illiterate.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he was
Make
like
America healthy again.
illiterate, like couldn't read books because he
Let's
seems
beat
to
the
not
team
have
from
read any books
California.
in his
The
life.
team from New York should beat the team.
He
from
seems like he's mostly a
California,
guy who
not
buys
only in
businesses
this election,
and then sells the business.
in the World
and that's his,
Series
like,
of baseball,
thing.
America's sport.
And then he made
I love
the
you,
cars,
New
but
York.
he bought
God
that
bless
business.
New York.
So
God
he buys
bless
them,
America. Let's
sells
make
them.
it great
And
again.
now he's a defense
I love you.
contractor,
Thank
so he's
you.
just
Welcome.
like cemented in as a rich guy because he's paid by our own.
Please welcome
defense
to the
contractors.
stage, comedian.
So yeah,
Nope. That's okay. It's finally over.
yeah, that was a
Okay.
tight 10.
So like that got so like I was very unimpressed with that stand-up comedy set. Some of the jokes were just badly set up, and yeah, he was really going in on those Latino and Hispanic communities, wasn't
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, he that was his icebreaker was comparing every Latino in the audience of conservatives to the immigrants that they all hate. So he just it's like not even well written for his audience. Like critiquing him, you could critique him from his side and he still did a bad job.
he? Did the watermelon joke, and even the Republican audience groaned. Even they were like, "Ah,
Yeah.
what?"
They didn't start liking it until he just got into weird Trump worship jokes, which aren't really jokes as much as like watching him say exactly what you expect him to say every time he talks, because it's like the same thing they all say whenever like they're like doing pro-Trump statements. It's like the same 6 things they say. And how did you didn't like the Kamala Harris voters park parallel wrong in their Hyundais or whatever? That didn't hit?
That joke. That I mean, what's like? He's just it's just like it barely feels like a joke though. It's like, oh yeah, those Kamala voters, they sure are Prius drivers.
Yeah.
Can't park. Dick burn. Yeah, okay.
And that was the material that worked. That was his best material of the night.
I mean,
So
technically it was structured better than some of his jokes.
yeah. What do you think was the best joke of that set? That whole set that he had a stack of paper to read off. What was the best joke there?
Man, I mostly remember them for like being bad, so that's kind of hard to say. Because I remember most of the time that he was racist. Like I thought the thing about Puerto Rico was pretty out of pocket. Like, dude, what the fuck?
They have to do damage control now because he pissed off a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans and they're conservative voters in a lot of swing states. And now they're like, wait, we're the other to the Republicans? Which is
I think the funniest part was the fact that he made the joke about the Nazi rally, about it not being a Nazi rally, immediately after he told the anti-Semitic joke.
Yeah. I think that is the funniest part. Yeah.
The timing of that is hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think he meant that, but I think that was the best part of the set.
Yeah, no, unintentionally funny moment.
Well, we got JD Vance's reaction too.
Now,
JD Vance had a reaction to it.
Yeah, he reacted to the comedy set.
Oh God. Is he pro or anti the comedy set? Honestly, like, I would not be surprised if JD Vance quits.
No, he's going all the way. He's taking over this fucking country. He's punishing us for what we did to him by making fun of him for so long. Okay.
They will all pay for saying I had sex with that couch.
Yeah. Okay.
And, oh, man. His face looks like a potato.
Yeah. At least he doesn't look like a strange baby doll man anymore. Okay, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, because of the beard.
I've heard about the joke. I haven't actually seen the joke that you mentioned, but I think that it's telling that Kamala Harris's closing message is essentially that all of Donald Trump's voters are Nazis, and you should get really pissed off about a comedian telling a joke. That is not the message.
It was anti-Semitic.
And most importantly, it's not the message of a person who's fit to be the president of the United States of America.
We should all be fine with racist jokes. That's my president's message.
And my own view on this is, look, again, I haven't seen the joke.
Is the plan just to turn everything around on Kamala? Like what?
Stupid racist joke, as you said. Maybe it's not. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to comment on the specifics of the joke. But I think that we have to stop getting so offended at every little thing in the United States of America. I'm so over it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what's your reaction to JD Vance's reaction?
My reaction to JD Vance's reaction. Well, first of all, I think it's wild that he seems to have to turn everything around on on Kamala Harris. I think, honestly, he could have, like, his entire reaction could have been just, I haven't heard the joke. I haven't heard the jokes.
Yeah, it could have just been that. But
It could have just been that.
he wants to go all the way. And
Don't comment on things I haven't seen.
Well,
And
if
then he could
that's,
have just moved on.
is there a chance he knew about it and is deploying an RNC talking point?
Maybe. Could be. Anything's possible.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that the guy's bit was also on a teleprompter, but I saw the papers in his hand, so I don't know if that's exactly true.
I mean, either way, he probably wrote that shit.
Oh yeah. He definitely.
Except maybe the My Pillow bit, which is really more of an ad than a joke.
I feel like if we go and buy My Pillows and use the code Kill Tony, it would work. I feel like he was not being funny about that. He was just trying to make as much money as he could for the set.
Like, what even is the joke? That he owns a product that's sold by the guy who supports the same guy he supports? Like, that's like a joke we would tell about them.
Yeah.
Like that's only funny to laugh at.
Yeah, I feel like he just actually means it. I feel like he just means that he has My Pillow. That he has a My Pillow and he wants me to buy it. That's all that felt like.
Which I saw are for sale at Big Lots near me.
I wonder if it's aren't those like $50? I feel like I've seen so many better pillows.
At Big Lots they're $30.
Okay.
But that's because Big Lots is, for those who aren't aware, most of the stuff they sell at Big Lots is stuff that other stores couldn't sell.
Oh, okay.
With the exception of things like Doritos, which it appears that they are selling. They apparently sell regular new Doritos. Oh, and new beds for some reason. But a lot of the stuff at Big Lots is like clearance products.
Yeah, I've heard you can't like sell used mattresses. And then I
Yeah,
bought
I don't think.
a pull-out couch from a furniture place, and there was a used mattress in it. I didn't know how to feel about that. Um,
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
you know, a lot of these times when something like this happens, you know, JD Vance probably wouldn't say this guy's a racist, right?
I mean,
And,
probably not.
yeah,
But those
I
jokes were
don't
pretty
think he
racist.
would. I think he seemed racist. I think that's enough to qualify someone as racist.
Mhm.
But what if I told you I had definitive proof that he was racist?
That the Kill Tony guy is racist.
Yeah,
I mean, for me to believe that it was definitive, I would need to see it. But I would say that it sounds probable.
right.
Do you have that evidence?
Yeah, I do. And
Okay.
before we watch it, I just kind of want to make a comment on like how it seems like only racist people want to defend racist jokes. Like I don't really think anybody out here is like making explicitly racist jokes unless they're racist, you know. And I feel like the best possible faith you can give someone like that is that they're just like they're unknowingly racist and they write jokes that are like racist, and someone has to tell them they're racist and they're just like, oh shit, I didn't know I was a racist, like something like that maybe. But I feel like personally this thing that we're about to watch isn't specific to this guy, and you could probably find something like this for most comedians that are out there making like racist jokes. But yeah, I have definitive proof that the Kill Tony guy is racist.
Okay. Down to see what he's got going on.
Gotta share it. I am sharing it. I'm playing it.
Who's that agent?
So this is the person who posted on their Twitter.
Okay.
I'm not
Tony
sure.
Hinchcliffe.
I didn't write down their name.
Yes, hello, good evening, welcome, hello. How about one more time for the filthy little fucking that was just up here? While all you fucking race traitors are hooping and hollering,
This is a week
we're
ago.
watching you puking in a fucking bucket. Oh, we making a gunpowder. Oh, you want extra soy sauce. Oh, you borrow money from us. And you guys just eating it up, you fucking pussy.
Give it up for the one and
We'll play it one more time just so you can tell what happened.
Yes, hello, good evening, welcome, hello. How about one more time for the
It's shockingly racist. Like it's
Yeah.
like
No,
fucking race traitors are hooping and hollering.
like it's wildly
They're
racist.
watching you puking in a fucking bucket. Oh, we making a gunpowder. Oh, you want extra soy sauce. Oh, you borrow money from us. And you guys just eating it up, you fucking pussy.
give it up for the one and only.
What the fuck?
yeah. And of course he after the first thing came out, not that I don't know if he's responded to that yet, but after the other thing came out, he was just like, people can't be offensive anymore. But it's just cover for him being fucking racist. Like,
Wow. Wow. That shit was crazy, actually. Like, who posted that?
it's the person that he did it to, the host of that
The
thing.
Asian guy posted that?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. If I had more prep time, I would have got the 2 Twitter posts, but Tony made a post being like, oh, you can't say anything offensive nowadays without people getting offended. And then the Asian guy made a separate post where he was just all like, happy Asian representation month or something like that, and he posted that. And he said, this is from a week ago when I was hosting this show, blah, blah, blah. And had that video up there.
And like also like why would you go after the host, the guy who just brought you on stage like that? Like what?
It's unhinged. It's unhinged racism. It's as logical as racism ever is. That's it.
Like did he think that guy would just laugh? Did he want him to be angry? Like what? Like wow. That's wow. This really makes Matt Rife's special seem tame.
Yeah, right.
Although
it feels like people are reaching when it comes to Matt Rice, but of course it was obvious in that case. It's just so bad in this case that it makes Matt Rice look like a reach for his jokes. But yeah, it's
I just always thought Matt Rife was annoying to begin with, but
yeah, it's Rife, not Rice. I was calling him Rice. He was famous for a week.
Yeah. And he almost went down he looked like for a second he was going to go down the alt-right pipeline for a second. Cuz he after his special came out and everyone like got mad about it, he went and talked to Jordan Peterson about it. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Like the thing that drives me crazy is it's like these people come out and they complain when people call them out on things. And it's like I really wish that people could understand that you can say whatever you want, clearly. But people are going to judge you for the things that you say. Like that's just how society works. And when people say like, "Oh, it's the worst it's ever been now," my first thought is always like, Lenny Bruce went to jail. Like comedian Lenny Bruce used to get arrested for the shit he said on stage. And now we got people who it's like, "Oh, someone said I sucked on the internet because I was offensive. Yeah. Now this is gonna become my whole personality."
And they take it out on everybody. They really do. And I it's completely irrational. And I don't really understand like how like anybody in the audience was laughing at those. Like the people laughing were laughing because it was racist, not because it was funny, because he wasn't doing jokes. He was just being racist. Like the thing before was him just being racist, but it was in a joke format. This was just being fucking racist to the guy. He was just calling him slurs and fucking
like what? Like references to making gunpowder and like soy sauce. It's like what?
Yeah, it's like historical racism. He's like calling back to like weird. He's just like saying race traitors. Like he's just like being openly like neo-Nazi type of fucking like KKK type shit. Like being openly racist. I mean.
Oh shit! This reminded me of another comedian. Oh, what's his name? It's Ben something. The guy who also thinks that nuclear weapons are a hoax. I forget his name. But he's got a terrible comedy special out where he like actually steals jokes from more famous comedians. Like he basically does the Chris Rock joke about the N-word, and he's a white guy. Like the joke about how like not all black people are N-words. He does that joke. And it's like, What? That is a Chris Rock bit, sir, and you are white.
Yeah, that's weird.
Ah, what is his last name? His first name is like Ben something or Benjamin. Can't remember, but he's like also an anti-Semite, and he thinks nuclear weapons are a hoax.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. Yeah. So that's what's going on with Kill Tony.
Wild.
Yeah, I think
I had
it's
no idea.
it's not
I want to hear what Shane
surprising.
Gillis has to say. Shane Gillis, where is your response? That's all.
Feel like-
That's how I know about Kill Tony. It's just that he's
Yeah.
friends with Shane Gillis.
Is Shane Gillis the one who responded because he made a Down syndrome joke and he was just like, "That's not funny"?
Shane Gillis probably would be offended by Down syndrome jokes. Shane Gillis is the guy who almost got a job on SNL, but he apparently had been on an episode of a podcast doing like Asian jokes. And it lost him the job at SNL. But he managed to get famous because of that, and now is actually pretty successful. Which I will give credit to Shane Gillis, though, is that Shane Gillis did not make a big deal about being canceled, and I really respect him for that. There's a lot of other things that I think are questionable about Shane Gillis, but I like that he hasn't made getting canceled part of his personality.
Right.
He is at least self-aware enough to know that he succeeded in spite of not getting hired by SNL.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw a specific moment where he got mad at the Kill Tony guy for making a Down syndrome joke. Either that or it's a different comedian, but I'm pretty sure it's Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis has a brother who has Down syndrome.
Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
And he actually like volunteers in like the disability community and stuff. So Shane Gillis actually might stand up for people with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
That sounds like something he would do.
Yeah. It's very interesting that people tend to only notice that something's offensive when or something is wrong to do when it's something close to them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, totally. Totally.
So did you hear that our possibly our future president also worked at a McDonald's this week?
I did hear about that. I've seen some pretty funny memes about it, including pointing out the fact that he wasn't following any like standard precautions for working in a fast food line, like gloves and shit.
Yeah, I saw a pretty funny meme too, but this is one that the president himself shared. Do you want to see it?
Okay, hit me with it.
Okay, it's pretty funny. It's pretty it's pretty Trump coded. Got so many things I gotta click across. Okay. So yeah, this is a real Donald Trump post. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit here. Yeah, here we go. He posted this meme. When I'm president, the McDonald's ice cream machines will work great again. And it's him waving away Biden as he walks away with the ice cream cone, which really kind of just looks like he works at McDonald's and Biden has a better job. But I don't know.
I mean, it is funny that he thinks he could work that he would post a meme about him working in the McDonald's while also supposedly being president. It's like
It's very this will be remembered as like a very specific piece of political propaganda that reflects the like climate and like the cultural environment where we communicate through memes. It's all just right here. The actual president sharing a photoshopped image of Biden wearing holding a McDonald's ice cream instead of the original ice cream that he's holding in this, which is a different meme. And he has the hat, which is from a different video where he put on a Trump hat. It's calling back to that, which that itself became a meme. And then it's boomeranging back to Donald Trump, officially making it a boomerang meme.
My question is, where did Donald Trump find this meme?
That's a good question. His team, right?
No, I don't believe he could have made this meme himself.
He uploaded this from his phone.
Yeah, so he downloaded it somewhere on his phone.
Maybe someone sent it to him?
Maybe. The thing about Donald Trump is I think that Donald Trump legitimately follows fake news type stuff. Like, I do think that Donald Trump, whether he is actually believes it or he's just trying to stay up on it so he can use it to manipulate people, who knows? But Donald Trump seems to genuinely buy into whatever sources are giving out these ridiculous things like Haitians eating people's pets and stuff.
Yeah, and that specifically, that was actually cooked up by a white supremacist group in Idaho. Did you hear about that?
I heard a little bit about that. I didn't realize they were from Idaho.
Or Ohio? What state did it happen in? Ohio?
Oh, it happened in Ohio.
That's what I meant. Yeah. All those states are the same to me. It's the block, and it's called the North. It's the Midwest to everybody else, but to me, it's the North because I'm in Colorado.
In fairness, Ohio is really only considered part of the Midwest because at one point it was as far west as we had gone. It is actually pretty much mid-east if we were actually talking about geographically.
Yeah. What did we just look at? Okay, we looked at the meme. Now we're gonna watch a little video of Trump actually working, or is he? Actually working?
I'm gonna take just 1 minute to explain why your contribution
this is funny.
is so important. This may not be the news you want to hear, but it is the truth. Donald Trump and his allies are outspending us by tens of
It's a
millions.
Kamala ad.
And they have millions more waiting to
look at
be
that.
spent.
Look at
The
that.
reality
49 to
is that
47,
this race
49 to
we
48.
need more resources.
Is that real? Who
Polls
knows?
show us this is the closest presidential campaign in
Sometimes looks like this.
Is that louder?
Donald Trump working the fry
It is louder,
counter at
yeah.
a Pennsylvania McDonald's, part of a strategy to reach out to non-traditional groups of Americans. In Hamtramck, Michigan, an
Did he just
endorsement
pour
from
the
Muslim
fries
American
into the
mayor.
oil?
The president and his campaign,
I'm not
they
exactly sure.
came to me.
Let's watch it again.
Campaign playbook sometimes looks like this.
It
Donald
was.
Trump
He
working
was.
the fry.
No, it hasn't happened
Well,
yet.
look.
He's doing it.
Sometimes
He's
it
gonna-
looks like this. Donald Trump working
it's
the
after he
fry
has in the
cooker at a
bag.
Pennsylvania McDonald's, part
Yep.
of a strategy to reach out
Dumping-
to
Oh, right.
non-traditional groups of
He
Americans.
dumps that
In
straight
Hamtramck,
down. I
Michigan,
wonder if
an
he's dumping it into
endorsement from a Muslim American
like a
I think he's
little-
dumping it into the other basket, but why?
A little
Came to
haphazard.
me here to my office. They visited me.
That's
multiple
not how the
times.
baskets
This happens,
work.
While we were very disappointed about the foreign policy of the current administration.
The Biden-Harris administration's support for Israel's war in Gaza prompting
Uh,
others to
that's-
say they'll
that's it?
sit this one out. A
Okay.
pro-
Well, I thought that video would be longer, but
It's still ridiculous.
yeah, and it's still enough because an interesting thing that some people noticed is that so there's this other part where he's actually talking to reporters and they're all at the window and they're they're asking him questions, and one reporter grills him about the minimum wage. It's not as important as where I'm trying to get, but there is this thing that I saw on Twitter, and it looks legit because it's the same guy, the same owner. But right here is an image where it says that this McDonald's is closed. And so, as far as we know, those were like plant drive-through workers, and he wasn't actually working.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Shine a light on the positive impact of small businesses, equally honored, should significant, one in 8 Americans. And then it's the owner right here. It's been confirmed as the actual owner. So, I mean, if it is fake, then it's elaborate. But yeah, so basically it was just like it was a plant thing where some people went through the drive-thru and they recorded a thing and sent it to the media, and then they had reporters come up to the windows and ask him questions in the drive-thru, which is very strange and surreal in my opinion. Like, I don't even know how to criticize that because it's just
Have you ever seen the movie The Interview?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
So it's a movie that stars James Franco and Seth Rogen, and it's about them going to North Korea to interview
Yes, I have
Kim
seen that.
Jong-un.
Yeah, I actually have seen that.
There's the part where he's leading James Franco around and he's showing him the grocery store. Then James Franco goes back later and sees that the grocery store is like fake and 2D and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, I forget which. I think it was the Elon Musk interview where Elon Musk interviewed Donald Trump. There's a part in it where Donald Trump sort of he mentions that Kim Jong-un showed him some like dictator stuff. Like
Right.
implying
He
that
probably showed him how to fake shit like that.
He showed him like some really fucked up shit. And like it's like, oh man. And the thing is that like Donald Trump's laughing it off. Like it's just like, oh yeah, no, it's cool. Like, oh my god. Fucking talking to a world criminal, Donald Trump, and you're acting like you're meeting some awesome guy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it like the set piece propaganda is very reminiscent of like the like type of propaganda that North Korea does. And kind of like what Russia does too. Russia does some weird stuff where they'll be like faking how good prices are and doing fake grocery stores and stuff like that. But Tucker Carlson also did pro-American propaganda in a Russian grocery store by looking at their prices and saying they were good. So it was pro-Russian pro-American propaganda because it was targeted towards conservatives. Just weird shit's been going on with all those.
Yeah,
groups.
no, Tucker. I would not be surprised if Tucker Carlson has been getting money from Russia. I really would not.
He
be surprised.
praises them so often. It's very strange.
Especially after the whole Tenet thing happened, where it turned out that Tim Pool and what's his fucking name? Something Rubens or
Dave Ruben.
Dave Ruben. Oh,
You share a name.
And Lauren Southern and some people were all getting money from Russia. apparently Tim Pool is doing less political stuff suddenly now.
Yeah, he's decided to pull back, but he's doing the Sam Cedar thing, and that's going to be very satisfying. Watching
Okay,
him
so
get
he
tore
is
down by
gonna
Sam Cedar.
finally talk with Sam Cedar.
Yeah, Sam announced it this week, or last week. It's supposed to be happening on Friday. This Friday.
Damn.
He's going to be on Timcast, so. And it's funny because Sam announced that, and then Tim did his thing right afterwards, like his I'm quitting thing, and then it was like up in the air for a second. But yeah, it's a little bit it's playing inside sports or whatever the expression is. I don't know. I'm gonna try to rush through this bit. I was kind of
Okay.
trying to. So Trump shows up at McDonald's. And then this happens. An E. coli outbreak in Colorado. State Health Department coordinating with CDC as it warns of E. coli associated at McDonald's location. It killed a guy. It's actually not that funny. And I don't think he caused it. But yeah, it's just it happened right after he did this thing. So I hear about Trump at McDonald's, and then I hear about this outbreak, and yeah, it actually affected not our specific McDonald's, but McDonald's in our states. It killed a guy here. But I did want to actually talk a little bit about some of the ways Trump might have caused something like this, or could cause something like this in the future, because there's this article that talks about the 7 ways his administration deregulated the food system during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Jesus.
So this is before the Biden administration. I'm not sure how much he fixed, but he didn't fix a lot. There was a lot of things that kind of fell through the cracks during this administration because he kind of was on autopilot the last 2 years. And so it actually lists it. So faster chicken with the side of tumors. The Department of Agriculture approved a petition by the Chicken Council to allow slaughterhouses to simply cut tumors off while continuing to process the rest of the affected bird.
Whoa, that's
OSHA
disgusting.
no longer tracks the spread of workplace illnesses. During the pandemic, the Occupational Health Safety Administration was largely abdicated its responsibility to regulate unsafe workplaces. In April,
Jesus.
the agency announced that only hospitals, doctors' offices, emergency offices, and jails and prisons would be required to track COVID-19 cases. Then in May, that was extended to all other employees, but OSHA passes off this responsibility to the employers themselves. It's up to the companies to make a good faith effort. So OSHA doesn't care about that. EPA lets polluters police themselves. In late March, the EPA stopped policing pollution, meaning it would no longer fine food plants or fertilizer factories for excess air emissions or chicken and pig farms for unsafe runoff. Food labels can have some inaccuracies, and I read this beforehand, so I know the important part of this is they waived nutrition fact labeling requirements for restaurants, and then announced it would stop enforcing calorie labeling rules for all restaurants with 20 or more locations. So they didn't have to do any calorie things for restaurants with 20 or more locations, just officially under Trump. And then it gave them gave manufacturers approval to make substitutions or omissions in food and drink products without updating ingredient labels. Like,
whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. What?
Then this happened during the last administration, and they're talking about going way deeper into the regulatory agencies during this next administration.
Oh my God. This means that every time someone is talking about, like, oh, no, Trump deregulated things, it's good. Actually, fucking insane.
Yeah, it's insane. And then the fishing one, which I don't understand fishing as well. But he signed an executive order that lays the groundwork to boost domestic production of seafood via large-scale open ocean aquaculture, which he said would revitalize our nation's seafood industry. However, scientists have voiced concerns about marine farms, pointing out that they could spread disease, increase pollution, and that if farmed fish were to escape into the ocean, they would compete with native species for food and resources. So, who knows where that went in the last 4 years? I doubt.
Oh my God,
I doubt Biden came. Yeah.
I could have major, totally fucked up outcomes.
And then
What are we?
truckers can drive longer into the night. Since the 1930s, they have not been allowed to drive all night, but in March of 2020, the Federal Motion Carrier Safety Administration relaxed hours of service rules to allow truckers transporting badly needed medical supplies, PPE, food, toilet paper, and other things to bypass rules limiting them to 11 hours within a 14-hour period and eliminating requirements to take 10 hours off between shifts. So that all they had to do was take 3 hours of sleep in between shifts.
Damn.
And then in May, it announced that it had finalized permanent rules that had similar goals, including a 2-hour longer driving window and the option to split up the 10-hour break throughout the day. So they changed it actually. So then they changed it to 13 hours of driving with the option to split up 14 hours with the option to split up the 10-hour break, which is that's not good for people's sleep. You can't there's nowhere.
No, these are very dangerous. These are dangerous suggestions. I mean, these are dangerous deregulations. Absolute madness.
Yeah.
People are probably gonna die.
Yeah, they probably have died since then. I mean, and then the last one is employers don't have the to come clean when they bust unions, which I don't know if this is current or relevant now because Biden did an executive order where unions, if there's proof that a union is getting busted, then the union automatically gets approved, and that's just
I think I heard about that.
So I don't know if this is relevant anymore. Biden was actually pretty good on labor. That's the
he was.
He seemed to care about. So I was initially a hater, you know. I didn't watch the movie yet. Because I was super excited for the movie, right, when they first announced it. And then they announced that it would be a musical. So I was way super excited about it. Like, I was stoked. And then they announced that it would be a musical composed of pop songs, like popular music. And I was angry. And I refused to watch it. And I was convinced it would be bad. Since they announced that, I was convinced it would be bad. And so after it was released and everybody was saying it was bad, I was like, I fucking knew it. I'm not watching that shit movie. I knew it was bad. And then I saw your video, and I didn't even watch the whole thing. I just I watched you say it's good actually, and I was just like, maybe I should rewatch this. Maybe I should watch this and actually form an opinion and not just assume it's going to be a bad movie. And, I did watch it. I wasn't exactly able to get to a movie theater to watch it. And some of the edges of the video were like cut out. And every time someone was smoking, it had an icon saying smoking something. But I couldn't see what the rest said. So I don't know if this was in a foreign theater. But I didn't exactly watch this in our movie theater, if you catch my drift.
I understand, yes.
But I did see it, and I liked it, and I have some notes I wanted to run through with you. Now, this is the spoiler full discussion of the Joker. We could talk about anything we want.
Okay.
This is for the 3 people that watch this episode and the 40 people that watch 3 seconds of it accidentally. So it's just for us, really. So the first thing I wrote is I like the cartoon at the beginning. I forgot WB made it. Yeah, and I saw that and I was just like, this is fucking awesome. This is like a cool little cartoon. And I like to see the actual like studio that does WB animation do like something a little bit more mature. Well, how did you feel about that?
I thought the cartoon was interesting because it was simultaneously doing like a recap of like some of the events of the previous movie.
Right.
While at the same time also like setting up what is essentially like the core premise of what would be this movie, which is the idea that Arthur Fleck and the Joker aren't really the same person. The Joker is more like an idea.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I liked that it was like I liked that it sort of summarized things, but I liked that it also like set a very like silly vibe right away. Like it's very much like manic setting, and then it opens and it's not manic at all. It is Arthur, and he is not the Joker. He is not manic. He is depressed. He is taking his medication, and I really like the idea of regression. You know, as someone who's like, you know, dealt with autism and like has an autistic daughter who's like, I've seen her regress, and like dealing with like poor mental health is dealing with like regression, and dealing with like neurodiversity is dealing with a lot of progress and regression. And like I saw comments in your video saying that like that was like their critique, is that it didn't start with him full Joker mode, jokered out laughing and killing people. It starts and he's not the Joker, and they said it was like going back to the beginning, but I don't think it was, because you know he was not the same guy in the beginning of Joker 1 as he is in Joker 2. Like he is like very like battered and remorseful for the things he did.
Because when we meet him in Joker 2, he's been incarcerated. He's had most of his power taken back away from him, because Joker 1 is all about how he as this like this disabled guy discovers power through violence. And so when we meet him in Joker 2, though, he's been incarcerated, so he's had a lot of his power taken away from him in his incarceration. So yeah, of course he's had some kind of regression. He's not free anymore. He's back in a certain ways. He's back to where he was before. In the fact, because he doesn't really have any real power anymore. So yeah, I know exactly which comment you're talking about. The comments on my reviews. Yeah, I remember reading that, guys.
Yeah, and I tried to read those because I was trying to get the other perspective, because my only feeling at first, the only thing I was going to be critical of the movie about is having modern music, and they didn't do that. Like they didn't have anything past like the 90s. Like it was all like what I would consider pre-modern music, because we're in the 2020s, and that's everything in that thing was over fucking my lifetime ago. Like it's none of it's new music. So honestly, I wasn't familiar with most of the songs in the movie, and it felt a lot more like a musical. Yeah, like I don't know any of that shit, and I felt like it really passed itself off as a musical well.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I was cool with what they did with the music. Like, I thought it kind of played out how I expected it to. Like, for some reason, like from the beginning, there was a part of me that was like, it's probably gonna be. I'm betting the musical numbers will all be in his head. I'm betting those will be the clear sections that are part of his like his delusional states, and it was. Those were the moments where it was most like that. Um, in fact, I think technically speaking, he only actually sings one time in reality, and I think it's in his weird interview with Steve Coogan's character. Um, and even then, it probably doesn't sound like how he's imagining it sounding.
Yeah. Well, then there were parts where I was having problems like figuring out that, because like what was real and what wasn't, because I thought I had a grasp on it, but I feel like and you make a point of this too. The movie takes like that gratification away from you. Like it wants you to it wants you to want something to happen, and it takes that away from you every single time. And so I kept waiting for, a clear break from what was happening the second he was confessing in the courtroom to not being having multiple personalities. I was like, oh, this is another hallucination. Like, he's obviously this is when he breaks with reality and he thinks he's doing the right thing, but he isn't, and he's imagining doing this. But no, it just goes, and it's like everything he does is the wrong choice from that point, for the Joker, and it puts him in a worse and worse position when you want him to do the other thing, and he has every opportunity to do the other thing. And and I really feel like even people who were praising the movie in your comments, there were a couple people who were saying it wasn't, or there was one person at least who was saying it wasn't matching the audience, and I feel like that's kind of true, because I feel like it was almost like having Harley Quinn and the Joker do this whole romance thing is antithetical to what incels are about, and incel culture being so close to the Joker, it's like they were playing off that and being like, the Joker isn't like you. No, this man is more complicated. He has a love interest who betrays him, who does wrong to him, but he still simps for her. He still chases her after she admits to lying and everything. It's ick to them. They're watching this. The same people who loved the first Joker, the guy lashing out with raw energy, having to deal with this new Arthur who's just like ick to them.
I saw a Facebook post of some guy who didn't like the movie, where he had just the most unhinged analysis of the film. He described it as being woke, as a woke feminist film, and about how it's all about taking away a man's power and whatnot. And I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my god, this guy it was unhinged. And because the truth is he thought Harley Quinn was meant to be all this super powerful feminist thing. It's no, that is not what's happening in this film. I assure you, sir, that is not what's happening. The truth is that Harley Quinn actually represents toxicity. She represents people who worship the Joker, the edgy fans who are yeah. When Joker shoots a guy in the face,
and she's the bad influence on him when she's in the hospital and all of that. And as she's telling him that he is the bad influence and molding him to be cruel. And another interesting part is that they sort of make the relationship a microcosm of the whole arc of a relationship. coming down to where he finally like reveals his vulnerable self, and she is displeased with that, and it's just the end of a relationship because Arthur Frayne isn't for Harley Quinn, and that's like everybody has to deal with that, and then he has to he has to pay for his crimes, and then the stabbing was completely unsettling for me because I was really wondering who was there to see him, and you just never find that out. He just gets stabbed and he lays on the floor, and I was like watching it. I was waiting for like a cut, like a quick cut. No.
No,
you think
because
there's gonna be a third one?
I feel like there won't be, but maybe. So the ending was the thing I had to process the longest. I noticed that character like early on in the film. Because when we were in the asylum, every once in a while the camera would just linger on him. Just this one character who wasn't really talking to anybody or really doing anything. The camera would just linger on him every once in a while in the background. And the two things I thought about the guy was that he literally looks like is that he looked like he had like a face like the guy who played the Joker on that TV show Gotham. And he had like kind of a haircut and tattoo thing going on like Jared Leto. And then at the end of the film, he's cutting up his face like a Glasgow smile, like Heath Ledger. So they kind of just started amalgamating different versions of the Joker into him, I think.
Right. Yeah, and I mean,
and actually, apparently, in the credits, to be fair, I got this off the internet, so I should watch the movie again before I say this for sure. But apparently, in the credits, the guy who stabs him is the one who is credited as Joker in the film.
Okay. Really?
Apparently. I don't remember actually seeing it in the credits, but that's what IMDb has him as.
Yeah. I don't think the way I watched it included the credits, so I can't verify that either.
Oh, okay. I wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So there's one more thing I wanted to talk about, which is Puddles, which is Gary.
Oh, yeah.
I have a poor memory, so I'm gonna have to rewatch the first movie and then rent the movie when it's out and streaming in a week or two. Because there's such a fast cycle. But I didn't remember Puddles, and I kind of remembered him, and then that whole part was I almost felt like I was Arthur, and I didn't quite remember what happened, or wasn't really paying to the attention to everything.
So Puddles is a gentleman with dwarfism who works for the same clown agency as Arthur, and he ends up. The thing that's established in the first movie is that Puddles is the only guy who doesn't make fun of Arthur, and apparently and it's revealed in Joker 2 that Arthur was also the only guy who didn't make fun of Puddles. And Puddles was with because the one guy who gave Joker the gun, he came to Joker's apartment to talk to him to make sure he didn't tell the cops that he gave him the gun. And Puddles came with him, and that's when he was sort of transforming into the Joker with the makeup and the hair. And so he stabbed the guy who gave him the gun earlier in the film, and he kills him in front of Puddles. And then Puddles needs to get out of the apartment, but Puddles is too short to reach the lock. So Puddles is just freaking out and very scared. And then Joker comes over and just unlocks the door and lets him out.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's so cool to have to cut a movie into itself. I think the best sequel, and I got this from other people. I don't recall who though, but like the best sequel is like a movie that is all of the essence of the first movie like multiplied. And I feel like I don't recall the entire first movie, but it felt like it was the case. Like the music didn't kill any of that. It definitely like it made it like it I think it made it better. I'm gonna have to watch the first one again, but I think I like the second one more after everything's over at the end of the day, because it's like a more eccentric art piece.
It is a more eccentric art piece, and the thing I like about it is because it makes so like the first film is in many ways a movie about disability, but it's like a weird kind of movie about disability, and it's also a very much like kind of a problematic image of disability. But like Joker 2 like kind of makes it better. Like it gives us it is actually a better representation of like disability, and like it gives his story, it makes his story arc a lot sadder, but it also rehumanizes him. Which I think is, which I am all for. I'm all for them rehumanizing him. It turns it in. It makes it so the story is so that Arthur Fleck isn't really the Joker. He's just this guy who couldn't catch a break, who couldn't get the world to see him.
Yeah, and
so
couldn't get the help he needed when he needed it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And so he put on a show, and he killed a guy, and he goes to jail, and he gets famous, but he accidentally creates the Joker. He creates this idea of this sort of anarchistic rage at society. And the people of Gotham, they begin to idolize him, and so then he goes to, of course he goes to the asylum, where one of these rabid fans manages to get into him. And also, I thought it was interesting because, like in the promotionals, they kept saying, "Oh, Harley Quinn's not a psychologist in this movie," and then it's like, "Oh, it's because she only has her bachelor's so far in the movie." Because which actually makes sense because it means she hasn't actually gone back to finish her degree. But basically, she becomes this toxic person who manipulates the Joker, and sort of just wants him to be. She wants that Joker to be real, and so she tries to help make sure Arthur Fleck is that Joker.
Yeah.
Which ends up probably destroying Arthur's chances of getting out of prison.
Yeah.
And basically he confesses only to be murdered by essentially the person who would become the new Joker. It's wild and sad and kind of beautiful in a weird way.
Yeah, my favorite part of the movie was like the scenes where they would cut to them doing like little pieces under the light with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, and I like how like it plays out the plot with the little thing, the dance, and I like the specific scene when he's like marrying her and she's in the dress, and it shows Puddles in the background and he's dancing. Like he's like dancing and into it, smiling, and it's only for like a split second. Do you see that? And it's like you have to be watching for it. And it's right after the scene where Puddles was like all upset, so like I was like sad, and then that scene brought me right back up. But
and like the Puddles thing is important because Puddles is someone who actually liked Arthur for Arthur.
yeah,
And he's like the only person.
yeah. The testimony
that-
did break him a little, you know.
Yeah, that was the thing that started to break the Joker down, to to break him back to reality in a certain way.
Right. Okay, well, I'm gonna end the recording here, but I'll talk to you for a second right afterwards.
Of course.
If you
There's
want to
some type
just
of
plug,
send-off?
yeah. So you just want to plug the show real quick. We'll
Oh,
plug
yes.
whatever you do real quick.
Please. Sure. Yes. My name is Ruben, and I have a sort of semi-experimental, although I'm going through a weird YouTube phase right now, podcast called Ruben Uncut. You can, I encourage you to like and subscribe to my YouTube, and you can also, if you want to see some of my crazier content, you can also go to Spotify and check out some of that stuff. Yeah. Um, and if you're in the sort of Clevelandish area, please check out the some of the upcoming improv shows at the Imposters Theater.
Yeah, I like that. And here, I'll end the show. So that's the show.